So welcome to part 2. We are answering the question, was Jesus God? If Jesus, so let's just continue on from our last video. So if Jesus was a lunatic, he was a psychological failure, a madman. He was on a level with a man who says he is a poached egg. He was someone with a seriously overinflated ego, wrongly believing himself to be the creator and sustainer of the world, and the one within the world who stands for the acts on behalf of God. The problem with this option is that it does not fit well with the things we know about Jesus' character and actions. Those who suffer from the kinds of delusions of Jesus would have tend to exhibit unhealthy character traits. A look at Jesus, however, reveals someone who was incredibly well balanced. So consider the emotions of Jesus. Disturbed people frequently show inappropriate emotions, bouts of severe depression, volatile mood swings, constant anxiety, inappropriate anger, and so on. Jesus never demonstrated inappropriate emotions. Rather, what we find in Jesus is the full panoply of emotions: joy, love, desire, anger, sorrow, grief, compassion, love, all manifest within appropriate context. When his friend Lazarus died, Jesus appropriately wept. The shortest verse in the Bible, John 11:35. When he witnessed the abuse of the money changers in the temple, Jesus appropriately was full of zealous anger. Matthew 21:12-13, Mark 11:15-18, and John 2:13-22. When confronted with those in need, Jesus felt compassion with a leper. Mark 1:40-41, a widow mourning the death of her son. Luke 7:13, two blind men seeking mercy. Matthew 20:34, and the crowd who was like a sheep without a shepherd. Matthew 9:36. Jesus experienced all the natural emotions of a healthy individual, not the sporadic and meteoric emotions of a madman. Let's consider Jesus' intellect. People who are psychologically defective often exhibit thinking disorders, difficulty maintaining conversation, hasty conclusions, or irrationality. Jesus, however, spoke with clarity, power, and eloquence. He had insight into human nature and a keen sense of awareness, revealing a pristine and clear mind. Blaise Pascal summarizes the genius of his teaching. He says, Jesus said great things so simply that he seems to not have thought about them, and yet so clearly that it is obvious what he thought about them. Such clarity together with such simplicity is wonderful. Finally, consider Jesus' behavior. Psychologically disturbed people often exhibit unsuitable behavior. Jesus' behavior, however, was quite in line with what you would expect of a healthy individual. He had deep and abiding relationships with a wide variety of people with different parts of society, a clear sense of purpose and calling, and his actions and words were consistent with that calling. We conclude then that Jesus was a well-balanced individual, much more so than anyone we know, including ourselves. As the famed historian W.E.H. Lecky himself, an unbeliever, he states, considering the life of Jesus, the character of Jesus has not only been the highest pattern of virtue, but the strongest incentive in its practice, and has exerted so deep an influence that it may be truly said that the simple record of 3 years of active life has done more to regenerate and to soften mankind than all the disquisitions of philosophers and all exhortations of moralists. The unparalleled life and impact of Jesus points us toward our final option. Jesus is Lord. So we've ruled out all options but one. So Jesus, we've ruled out that Jesus was not a legend, or that he's not a lama or a holy person. He's not a liar, and he's not a lunatic. Jesus existed, claimed to be God, and is God. Jesus is Lord. The logic of our argument naturally leads to this conclusion. Jesus' life, his teachings, resolve, miracles fulfilled, prophecies, and the resurrection shows that Jesus was right. His claims are vindicated. There are good reasons to think that the Jesus of history is one and in the same with the Christ of faith, worshipped by believers worldwide. Jesus is Lord. There's no arguing about it. God bless.